Yo, John Mali forever. Never die, man. Never change. Only me. If you think you can die, man, that's your business. I don't think I can die, man. Yo, Celine Dion, John Mali, forever. Never die, never change. We can't die. We live for life, nigga. I can't die, man. That's what I think. Listen, John Mali forever, never die, never change. I'm a businessman like a boss, and my time is to get my motherfucker like Tupac and the Kid Do B. Tupac and the Kid Do B is that I don't think I can die. I think I'm here, I think I'm free, I think I'm strong, I think I'm free, I think I'm free for life. I can die. Lot of people in the bar are miles wanna be just like me because I'm a real gangster rapper. After Tupac, everybody wanna be gangster rapper. I'm a real gangster. That's why you like me. That's why you like my style. That's why you like my time because I'm a real gangster rapper. St. John, Mali.
When I hear you breathe, I can't wait to fly. I feel that I'm alive. When you look at me, I can touch the sky. I know that I'm alive. When you bless the day, I just drift away. All my worries die. I'm glad that I'm alive.
And I'll live forever. I'll never die. I'll never change.
Fill me with love, make me a woman. I'm proud to bear. I couldn't get much higher. My spirit takes flight. 'Cause I'm alive. Where you come on me. When I hear you breathe, when I hear
Check it out, man. John Marley and Celine Dion, boss. This is good idea.